G'day, freedom lovers. How are we? Sips for the happy birthday. Let's get this drink on, guys. Yep, I'm going to be self-indulgent and have lots of birthday parties this year. I had one yesterday. I'm going to have another one here with all my wonderful freedom friends that can't make it here to Townsville. And, of course, I'll probably have another one tomorrow because why the hell not? It just works, So 45 trips around the sun. G'day, mate. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Good to see people are slowly moving into the chat here. We've got a good one here. We're going to bring in another North Queenslander podcaster. Some of you are probably familiar. All you cafe locked out people probably know Wayne pretty well. Going by the name of Dark Wheatus. How are you, mate?
G'day. How you going?
Good, man. Good. Birthday
Happy
sip,
birthday,
brother.
Man. Yeah, birthday sip. I don't have much to sip on. I've got some yeast here that I'm organising. Yeah. I'm waking it up and I'm about to pitch it. I'm making a big batch of rum. I'll see if I can show you. This is check this out. That big drum there.
Oh wow.
Yep, I do enough to last me for the rest of the year in one hit. So I'll be sips soon enough.
Yeah. I just laid down a batch of homebrew beer myself, so
I got to get into the
beer in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. What do you do? Just tin?
Yeah, just a tin. I haven't got time to fuck around boiling up fucking all the extra shit. Yeah, it's too much time, Like if I had more time on my hands, it'd be a wonderful thing. Like, some very dedicated people out there spend a whole weekend, preparing these things, with meticulous precision. But yeah, it's just not me.
It's another one of those hobbies that people get into to save money.
Yeah.
Then you just really realize quickly that, say like fishing. You don't go fishing to save money. The amount of people I've heard, I've got to get a boat and then I'll fill up the freezer with fish and then I'll be mint and, it's going to be good in the long run. Shut up, bro. Get your boat, have fun. You're not saving money. You're going to spend way more money than if you went to the fish and chip shop once or twice a week. It's, there's a lot of them. They're traps and I fall into most of them. The only one I haven't gotten into is cars. Cars, I haven't fallen into that trap. It's too expensive and time consuming, man. I'm not much of a mechanic, so.
No, I'm shocked, man. Like I have enough trouble trying to figure out which spanner goes where,
Yeah.
As it was, I went down to Bunnings to buy some spanners the other day and I come back with the wrong size. So, I went back to Bunnings again.
You see, I just buy one of each. I buy the pack that you roll out.
Yeah, I got one of them, but I needed the big ones because, like, the gas bottle fitting. I thought, oh yeah, I had the 22 next to it. I'm like, yeah, I reckon the next one's a 23, so I'll go and buy a 23. And it's like, no, it's a 24. I'm gonna go back because the spanner pack only went to 19.
Yeah. Anything over 19 starts to cost like $300 for the kit. It's insane.
Yeah, way too much. So I just buy the individual ones as I need them.
And how'd you go yesterday? Your birthday. So did you you just have a quiet one, or did you send it?
Oh, I had a couple of friends come round, and they sort of all left early because it's a school night and whatnot. And one of my friends, thank you, Jeannie, brought me this wonderful mug, with a little bell on it. So every time my glass was empty, I had to test it out. And
the old ringer.
My son Tyler tried to be helpful, and he come to his daddy's aid when his glass was empty. Yep, bit of Jägermeister, thanks, mate. Comes back, he half filled the glass with Jäger. Like, dude, did you leave any in the bottle? Wow. Gonna need some ice on that to water it down.
Oh, man.
So it's sort of getting a bit blurry after that drink.
I bet. Not mixed, just straight Jägs.
Straight Jäg.
Oh, bro, that reminds me that gives me anxiety pangs from back in the day when I used to drink that shit all night. I can't do it anymore. Even a big one, fair enough, but not sitting on them all night, man. It's rough. It does its job.
Oh,
definitely. You remember chartreuse? We used to do shots of chartreuse, man.
Isn't that really expensive these days?
Everything's really expensive these days, especially alcohol. It's probably $90 to $100 a bottle, I would say.
Yeah.
$63 of that is straight to the government.
Mm. Yeah,
Isn't it
pretty
something
much.
like that now? It's about 63% tax on
Yeah, I
alcohol.
think so. It just increases every 6 months too.
They don't care, and they don't want to stop it
Mm.
because people haven't cracked the shits yet. It's
Yeah.
one of them things. I think that they'll just continue doing it and going, well, we're getting away with it. Like, you're not going to stop until everybody cracks the shits.
Yeah.
And then that's the line, and then it'll stay there. So it's not like they'll drop it back to 40% or 20%. They'll just sit. It'll hit 70%, and everyone's going to crack the shits, and then they'll go, right, I will sit at 70 for a while.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised, more smokers haven't lost their plot. $120 for a 50-gram pouch last I checked. It's probably even more now. But like, my God, you're better off taking up drugs. It's cheaper.
Everyone I know almost has started vaping.
Yeah.
And a lot of people smoke chop, like the
Yeah.
cheap illegal tobacco. So the
Yeah.
illegal tobacco industry is roaring at the moment.
Oh, yeah. And what did
So
they think was going to happen?
what do you think? And that's right. Like, at what point do you think people aren't going to start bootlegging alcohol?
Mm.
You know, and
We learned nothing from the 1930s prohibition.
isn't it? Like, man, yeah. Like, there's what did I hear the other day? The war on things. As soon as there's a war on something, it makes it worse. Like, every
Yeah.
time, the war on drugs, they never won that. There's so
They're
much
never
drugs
going
around.
to.
If anything, it's easier now. There's drugs in
Mm.
schools, like
Yeah.
little kids' schools, not just high schools.
Yeah.
Little
Primary
kids'
school.
schools. Yeah, man, I've heard of it. It's insane. So yeah, that war, they're doing well on that front. Not,
Oh, yeah. Right.
but
But you got to fund these secret wars somehow. Like, I mean, we've all listened. Well, maybe not all of us, but I'm pretty confident that you probably listened to the old Chop Suey and whatnot from System of a Down,
yeah,
using drugs to fund their secret wars
wars
around the
around
world.
the world. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
And
again, do they want to solve this problem? I doubt it.
no, no, that was, if they wanted drugs gone, they'd be gone. Like,
Mm.
especially in Australia, man, we're an island. We're an
Yeah.
island that's got nowhere that close. Nothing can come in here without them letting it in. There's no way.
Yeah.
And not in big amounts. You just know they've got, like, I guarantee you start selling unpasteurized milk and see how long that takes to get
Yeah.
shut down.
Oh,
Days.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Oh,
used to
yeah.
drink it straight out. Like, when I was a kid, we had my grandparents had a farm,
Mm.
and they used to milk the cow, and they'd bring it in, and we'd have it for breakfast straight out of the
Mm.
bucket. And I used to crack the shits because I didn't like it warm. I liked it if it'd been in the fridge for a bit, just to
Yeah.
make it go cold. Plus,
Yeah.
all the cream goes to the top after it chills a little bit, and then if you scoop some of that onto your wheat bix, it's mint.
Mm.
But
Can't go
we used
wrong
to
with
drink
the
it. That's
old
all
cream.
we ever drank. Like, how can people drink it for hundreds and hundreds of years, but suddenly now you're going to die from it?
Well,
All
I
these
suppose
things.
you also got to think, I mean, how long's the shelf life and all that sort of stuff, too, like the way we've done things, once upon a time, like you said, you'd go straight down to the cow and get it straight from the cow. It
Yeah,
wouldn't be
no, I
sitting
get
around for
that.
a long time. So I think, the way we've structured our society has probably facilitated a lot of that sort of shit. But yeah, I hear what you mean. It's the same as all of a sudden, bread's bad for you. We've been eating it for hundreds of fucking years. What changed? Oh, the farming
Glyphosate.
practices. Yeah, exactly. Glyphosate,
It's
because
what
they spray
changed.
that shit on
Not
it.
the bread. It's what they're putting on
Yeah.
it to make more profit.
Mm.
100%. And I mean, is milk milk? The last time, have you ever gone and bought the cheap milk and tasted it, and then, like, that just tastes like water with some vanilla essence in it
Yep.
and white coloring? It honestly
Mm.
tastes like water with vanilla. Like, it tastes like melted vanilla ice cream that's been watered down. It's got this weird vanilla
Yeah.
flavor to it. It's like, milk's not supposed to taste like that.
Yeah.
But people don't know anymore. But it's not even milk. I'd say it's been watered down that much that it's mostly just some flavoring, and that'd be chemical flavorings because they're the cheapest
Mm.
you can get. Be chemical flavorings, water, and a little bit of milk, I would say.
Mm.
So they're stretching their profits, and that's why they're charging $3 a bottle for a 3 litre, like $1 a litre.
Yeah.
For the the Coles or the Woolies milk. It is definitely not milk. Yeah, I wonder if anyone's done a test on it. Like, has anyone ever tested it to see how much of it's actually milk? Surely there's a way you can test it.
Good. Oh, I reckon it'd be probably the same way you go about testing water. You just got to send it down to a lab and just go, "Hey, can you tell me what's in this?" So it'll cost you a bit. That might be
'Cause,
worth.
I
That
mean,
might be something worth looking into.
well, imagine that. Imagine finding out that they've been watering down milk something fierce to the point of like barely even any milk in it, and then blowing the lid on that. It'd go mega.
Sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now because I've been upset about it for ages.
So I just don't buy the cheap shit too.
Yeah.
I unless there's cream sitting on the top of that, I ain't touching it. Because that's what you should have. There should be cream on the top of that milk.
Yeah, there should be a little bit.
I think it's Farmers. I can't think of the brand. I just know it's got an orange label on it. So the Queensland Farmers one is the one I pick up. And I find that's one of the best ones because when you open that up, you got the cream. So I pour it real slow to get all the fucking cream into my glass first. And then the kids can have it.
You're like, my cream.
I got the cream. Rest is yours.
I give it a shake, but fuck yeah, steal the cream. I've gone right off milk. Like, I used to eat a lot of milk, but nowadays I just have a little bit in my coffee, and even then I'm trying to pull it back a bit. It's too expensive, and if I want to buy the good stuff, I don't want to. You can't afford, like, it's quite expensive for the good stuff, and it doesn't go far enough if you just fucking around with it. So yeah, I just bit in my coffee. But
I can't even drink coffee, man. I don't know how people drink coffee. I'm probably one of the
weirdest you're not a coffee
people.
drinker?
Can't even stand the smell of the stuff, man.
Really? You don't like even the smell? I know a lot of people that don't drink it but think it smells all right. They just don't dig it. You're not a fan?
Yeah. Nah, man. I've had so many people go, "Oh, look, you just haven't had me make you a coffee yet." I'm like, "Righty, cue it up. Let's have another crack." But every time it's like, "No, it's not how you make it. It's the fact that it tastes like coffee."
You actually have a crack though. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I'll try.
I know a few people.
I'll give it, because then they've seen me go, "Nah, I'm not eating that. I'm not drinking that shit."
Yeah, right.
Point proven. Done.
What about Vegemite?
Oh, I love Vegemite. I'll eat that shit out of the jar.
Sweet. Yeah.
Un-Australian not to eat Vegemite, I think.
I think so. I don't cake it on. Some people get in there and they're like, they pull out the trowel and they proper trowel it on.
That's me.
I'm not there. Oh, you're that. You trowler on there. You put a fair layer.
Not quite as thick as you would say your Nutella, but I put a pretty heavy amount.
Do you go Nutella spec? Are you more like peanut butter spec?
I don't like peanut butter either. It's like eating glue.
I like the taste of peanut butter, but I don't like lots of it. But I like peanut butter and honey. I used to have honey and peanut butter sandwiches when I was a kid, and maybe some slices of banana on that bastard.
Righto. Banana might
back in the day, in the dizzy.
Back in the day, yeah. So I was always a fan of thinly sliced apple, cheap shit fucking sliced cheese, and a sprinkle of cinnamon and sugar, and you chuck that in your Jaffa line, mate. Fucking shit hot.
Yeah, right.
I've converted
nothing beats the old. Yeah, no, I can imagine. It'd be like an apple pie, nearly. Yeah, pretty good, man.
Yeah,
that'd be
pretty nice. And probably not that good for you because that cheap shit plastic cheese is pretty fucking nasty, And especially like you put that in the griller, and you see it just turn like that horrible brown fucking color, and it's like a rock, like fuck, this is not good for me. But yeah,
it's Have you ever done the Macca's test and bought a cheeseburger and just left it outside?
I didn't have to. Weeks? I knew a lot of really grotty people who'd leave a cheeseburger in the bottom of their car for God knows how long.
That's me. I did. Oh. I had one that turned into a hockey puck, man. And me and the apprentices were all taking turns to like put it in each other's toolboxes, and you'd be like, the trick was to try and get this old cheeseburger into someone's gear. And then see how long it stayed there for until they noticed that it was there. And then obviously it'd appear in your shit at some point. Yeah. But we'd all be walking around pretending we didn't know. And then you would actually lose track of it. And you're like, who's got it? And then suddenly someone's like, oh, fuck, you got me. But this old cheeseburger was floating around, and it started, because we were mucking around with it, it started falling to pieces, like crumbling
Like
from the
grinding
edges.
dust.
Yeah, it was dusting up. It was
Mm.
still, it never went moldy, and it never at all, didn't go moldy, and no animals or ants would touch it. And we're in the tropics, man. They eat everything here. You know, if you sit down on the concrete for too long, you'll have ants try and carry you off up here. And they don't touch it, man. Nothing. So that's crook, man. And we put that
Corned beef and Vegemite. Wow.
Who?
Leander Kelly just come up there and said, "I like corned beef and Vegemite." Wow, that's a different one. I'll have to give that a crack. Another one, like my son,
Wow.
he's getting a license now, but when he was like 3 years old, he's like wanted Vegemite on his cheese and bacon roll, and I'm like, nah, man, that's a bad idea. No way is that going to work, And eventually, we had like a family friend come stay with us, and he said, "Hey, can you make me something to eat?" to a family friend, and she's made him up what he asked for: cheese and bacon roll with Vegemite on it, and he ate the whole thing. I'm like,
loved it.
Okay, righto. Now you've got me curious. I'm going to have to try this myself. So I slapped a bit of, and I caked it on, a shitload of Vegemite onto this cheese and bacon roll, and I tucked into it, and I'm like, fuck, he's onto something. This is good. So there's another one yeah, right. It works really well with the cheese and bacon roll,
Cheese and bacon roll. Righto.
Yeah.
I always loved in the jaffles just the tin spaghetti on a jaffle, the classic. That has to be. You think that's Aussie? Is that an Aussie thing? The tin spaghetti on a jaffle?
I'm not sure.
That'd have to be Aussie, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's the only thing my old man could cook when I was a kid. The old lady went to hospital this one particular time. I think she was in there for about a week or so. And fuck, it's the only thing the old man could cook. We went through all the bloody fish and chip shops and the KFC. Once we'd gone through every fast food joint, it was like spaghetti on toast. That was it.
Yeah, and that's like kids gather around. I'm cooking.
Yeah, we call it the grandpa special these days.
That's exactly it, though. I make it for the kids every now and then, but it's usually like a lunch thing or a breakfast thing.
It's a snack. You can't live on that.
You can't live on
it. I feel a one-liner coming from Croc Dundee here. You can live on it, but it tastes like shit.
Crocodile Dundee. He's Paul Hogan. He's I saw him in the headlines recently. He said something, but he's like in his 90s now, isn't he, Mr. Hogan?
He'd be pretty old.
He's
Last
getting
time
there.
I seen him, he was he just had a facelift and whatnot done. I think he was denying it as well.
Oh, fucking hell. And he looked like someone had fucking wrapped glad wrap around his forehead and and he's saying, no, I didn't do it. Come on.
I didn't get plastic surgery.
That's like when Warney did the same thing. He started dating Liz Hurley and immediately started looking like fucking a Ken doll, and everyone's like, bro. And he's like, no, I swear, I'm not doing anything, bro. You are. Just own it. Poor old Warney, and he got done. The jab. Yep. And they reckoned it was his dietary shakes. He was having fruit juice shakes and like, what do they call them? You know, those weight loss meal replacement shakes? He was having them, and they reckon that's what killed him. Because that's more of there's definitely something like that. It's definitely not the experimental fucking DNA therapy that was injected into his body.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Did he
die? Paul Hogan died, so that's why he was in the headlines. Well, he really did get a facelift. Hey, fucking Paul Hogan died.
Of the dead.
Oh, Mr. Hogan, that's not a death. This is a death, and he did a lot. He did a lot, I think, for Australia.
Dies at 90. Yeah. Well, there you go.
I said 90.
You're bang on. Yeah, you're bang on there, mate.
Oh well,
that's a bit sad.
By the way, I'm almost as red as the flag background At the moment,
Seen a
I
bit
was
of sun, have you?
I've seen a bit of sun today. I was out building a shed up in Coranda, and it was overcast all day. Lovely day to build a shed, except I forgot to put sunscreen on because it was overcast. The usual, that's the old trick. And although, and before everybody blows up, the right kind of sunscreen, non-chemical, there are actually certain types. So I've been off sunscreen for quite a while, but there are a couple of brands that are all natural and they help more than hinder. But I'm not usually a big fan of it. But when you're in this sort of weather, man, you have to have something. You can't, like, when you're working in the sun, it's like 8 hours of just punishment on your skin, or put something on. So I've found a couple of brands, but they're very expensive.
Yeah, all the good shit is.
Mm.
Yeah, I try to more cover up than anything. I think it's the best way to go, So
I struggle,
truck,
man.
You're out.
People up here all wear those big long sleeve fishing shirts, and I'm not. I like the heat, but I'm not accustomed to it to the point where I can wear a long sleeve shirt comfortably and not die. It cooks me so hard. I struggle to wear a hat, man. I just get so hot. I can't do it. So I do love the heat though. I'm glad I'm not in Melbourne anymore with that weather. We'll just say
the roller coaster ride of weather.
Oh, fucking hell.
I'm actually thinking this Paul Hogan death is actually a hoax by the look of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hogan remains alive and well at 85 years old, Jesse.
There you go.
So there you go. According to her, is
like
not dead. Yeah, everyone's jumped on it. Oh, they're quick in the comments too.
Yeah.
That's why I love them. I love the comments. I love you guys. You're quick to jump, and that's why we do what we do. It's a collective.
It is. So many awesome people. Like Robin. G'day, Robin. How are you?
Hi, Robin.
And I believe Mark there called the proper terminology SIPs.
Oh, yep, SIPs.
Yeah,
the crocodile died at 90. Clear zinc is okay. Thank you. Yeah, there's a few. There's some good zincs out there. There's a lot of pus, man. There's a lot of absolute shit that they claim they're chemical free, or they claim whatever their natural ingredients, but it's just rubbing pointless cream on your skin. It doesn't actually do anything either. So it's hard to find a good brand.
Yeah, he's 85 according to this. Apparently he's keen to come back to Australia. And then there's the reveals why he can't return back to Australia. He can't return, apparently.
Yeah, right. Wonder why. I bet you it's something to do with some sort of speech, like something he said, or something he's not allowed to do or say.
And I remember once upon a time he was there suing the Australian government or something. No, hang on. They were trying to get him to pay taxes or something. He's like, fuck off.
That's right. And he was like, get fucked.
Yeah. So
yeah, good on him. Tax issues. That's why he can't come back. It's tax.
Yeah.
Oh, he is a man after my own heart. I love him.
Yeah.
I love him
fuck
even
the Australian
more
government.
now. He's like, fuck y'all. They're like, oh man, it is actually frustrating though, how often when you take notice, the government has their hand out. Like, it is insanity how much they have their hand out and how much they take, and they're just relentless with collecting that revenue, and fuck all of it goes anywhere.
Yeah. They just burn it. And fucking, they're handing it over to Israel because they're broke as fuck, apparently. Not, and then at the same time they're handing it over to Palestine and all these other friggin' countries. It's like, hang on, if you got to tax the fuck out of me to pay for these cunts, what's going on here? That's not. what we pay taxes for. That's for our own infrastructure. In the meantime, the roads are fucked. You know, we as we were discussing the other night, you know, we're living up here in cyclone country, and if the power goes out when the wind blows too hard, like what the hell are they doing?
It freaks me out. The roads up here, up to Port Douglas and up the Coranda Ranges, 12 months after the cyclone, and no one's even worked on them. They pay people 24 hours a day around the clock. You know those little traffic light setups they have where everybody has to wait and they go red, and then everyone from that way comes in, and then it goes green, and then you go through. They've had them for 12 months.
In truck driver, I really enjoy seeing them. Not.
Oh, as soon as I see one, I'm like, yes, I get to chill out for a minute. Well, they've got like 5 of those stops on the way to up the hill, and 2 of them before Coranda, and Coranda's only 20 minutes from my house. So they've been there for 12 months, and they're staffed 24/7. Those guys, and so being council, they'd be EBA, and they'd be getting all the penalties. They'd be earning like good money, and good on them for earning the money. I never shit on anyone for earning money, but why are we 12 months on and there's not fuck all being done? It's just a never ending throw money at it, and we'll be fucked with it at some other point. You see other countries like Japan. There's viral videos of Japan fixing collapsed bridges in like fucking a day and a half because they just get in there and fix them. They build whole things around them so that while they're fixing them, traffic can continue. You know, and then like I don't know if you remember the Ring Road and the saga where in Melbourne, the Ring Road that didn't ring anything really, but
was that Dan Andrews' fucking bloody first day in office ripping the Victorian people off? That one we're talking about?
And every other day. No, well, I don't know. I don't think it's even him. I think it's just been never ending. But the council, they have roadworks on the Ring Road from one end, and they slowly upgrading it, and they upgrade it, and they take 2 to 3 years to finally upgrade the whole thing, and there's always shutdowns and closures and this and that. And they finally get to the other end, and then they've got to go back and re-upgrade it because it's been 3 or 4 years, and then they do it again. So while I lived there for 13 years, I watched them add 3 or 4 lanes over the fucking 13 years that I lived there. Instead of just adding them in one hit, they'd add one at a time, and it would take yonks, and then they'd get to the end and they'd go on back and they'd add another one and another one. And then, man, and like you've seen the money that Dan Andrews spent in the time he was there on all his projects. It's billions.
Yeah. And not to mention the road that never got built that Victoria had to pay for.
Was that the east to west link?
Yeah, that bypass.
What was it, north to south bypass or whatever it was?
Yeah, I
City
can't remember
bypass.
exactly what it was called. Yeah, but it was like to fix that bottleneck at the end of the Eastern Freeway there.
Where it comes out onto Punt Road.
Yeah. Before that, was it Hoddles? No, it's not Hoddles.
Yeah, Hoddle. Punt and Hoddle.
Because you come out, 4-lane highway,
Street,
a couple of roads, and eventually it comes into Cemetery Road. By the time you hit Cemetery Road, it's like one fucking lane.
It may as well it's gross, and that's all goes all through into Fitzroy and that, and it's just gross. It's fucked. Totally, man. Yeah,
it's such bad planning,
It's just like the Greens and Labor and their supporters. They've got about 2 to 3 weeks of future thought. Everything they do is a spur of the moment fucking knee-jerk reaction of what's the fucking most socially acceptable solution here, and it's like, have you thought about the long term of this? Long term? Like, they don't even know what long term means, I'm sure, especially the Greens, man. They're out of control. They're like, don't burn, and then they're like, why is there been a bushfire? People died. Don't burn off. Even the following year. It's fucked, man.
They don't learn. Were you there when they had those big fires that went through like King Lake, torched the whole fucking town?
Yep, I was.
Yeah.
I was
Again,
just
I
there.
think it was like 1 or 2 fucking properties that didn't burn down, and those are the guys who had sort of built a perimeter around it, and the Greens going and fucking suing them for fucking, clearing land, and they saved their house. Well done, dickheads. So, and that's
And
something
that's the other
fine.
thing. Like, there's no built-in fire breaks in these areas, man. They just let the fuel collect for 10 years.
Yep.
It's almost on the dot. Every 10 years on the dot, there's a huge bushfire. Fuck me, man. Clear, make fire breaks. That's what they're like. You do that to save people and to save everybody, but they should be burning off more frequently. They do it up here. I've noticed every year up here they burn off, and I'm like, thank fuck someone's using their brain.
As soon as it dries out, they're out there fucking,
fucking burning
it all back.
Oh man, could you imagine up here if they didn't? The fuel would be absolute catastrophic death if they didn't burn off. They obviously they have to. It just makes me why they don't do more of it down south. And I think that there's a lot of pushback from people who don't understand why the fuck you do it. They don't know. There's no education.
I think Karina summed it up quite well with that comment there. They need the bushfires to push the climate lies.
Yeah. Yep. That's on the money.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to pour another drink.
Yep, pour a drink.
Have you invested in a bar fridge for under your desk yet?
Fuck, man, I'm about to. Yeah. I don't want to invest in one that's got a tap on top though.
Ooh, yeah, it could be
but
dangerous.
I might. Yeah, it's so dangerous, dude. It's very dangerous. It'd be way too easy, wouldn't it? I'd be out here all the time.
Big thanks to Janine for providing this for me for my birthday. I'll have a birthday drink of it.
Bit of Kraken. So this is hair of the dog for you. You're backing it up, and I'm impressed.
Yeah, very good. Worth doing properly.
Twice. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing twice. Once the next day.
3 times. I'll be at it again tomorrow.
3 times. Oh yeah.
I only live once. Here for a good time. Maybe a long time.
I saw a really good bumper sticker recently. I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was essentially they should use all the funding for trade schools instead of the woke universities. And I thought that was such a good sticker. I want to make a T-shirt about that. I tried to use AI to make me a picture, but it got a bit hectic because I was saying I want a blue-haired, like a blue hair lesbian style. I said Brunswick lesbian style haircut, blue hair with what did I say? Like a protester look, crying about something, and I wanted like an Aussie apprentice with high vis on, shooting at her with a nail gun. And AI was just like, nah, we can't really do that, man. So I was like, damn it. Well, I'm going to get a human to do it for me then.
Yep. I'll see what we can knock up in one of these programs I've got here.
Oh, true. Yeah. No, we got to get a T-shirt going.
So I'll do a cartoon. We'll do it as a cartoon or something,
Yeah,
Seems
that's
like
what I was trying to do. But
I'm sure we can do something for ourselves.
Something like that. It was great. But anyway, yeah, Batty, you do need a hip flask. Where's mine? Have a look at this.
I got
Adrian. Oh, you saw it the other night, didn't you? I got my WTF.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. I definitely got to get some of them. I mean, I've got a collection of hip flasks from over the years, and they come in very handy. Particularly when you got to go places where there's no alcohol.
They've gone out of fashion, and I think we need. Hang on. What the fuck's that? I think the dogs are eating some sort of a frog or a toad. It is screaming. Oh, hang on, my missus is messing.
Oh, hopefully it's not a toad, because that could be the end of the dog.
Oh, hang on a second. I do have to have a look. It might
All
be a
right, you go
bat.
check that out. It sounds like I can hear it squeaking too. So there's Wayne's going to investigate what's going on there, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I'm seeing some wonderful comments in there. Cheers, guys. How's Albo spending our money on fixing his road driveway? I might just drop him back while he yells at the dog. So yeah, good old Albo. Sooner we get rid of him, the better. But I don't know. Has anybody got any confidence in friggin' that other drop kick for the Liberal Party? What's his name? Dutton. I'm feeling he might be a bit of a dud. It's Toad, rinse with water quick. I'll let him know when he gets back. There you are, Janine. Thank you. Sips. Toads don't squeak. Yeah. They make an interesting sound when you hit them with a cricket bat, though. Bit of a splat sort of a sound. It's amazing how tough those freaking things are. They're like, they should be easy back. They should be fucking coating our tanks in fucking toad skin, I reckon.
I came back and just the first thing I heard was they make an amazing sound when they get hit by a cricket bat, and I immediately knew what you were talking about. You did. That was a bat. The dogs had cornered a bat in the kids' cubby house, and it couldn't get out, and it was screeching, and I just had to throw them back inside. But it is what it is. Welcome to the tropics.
Yeah, life up here.
My missus grabbed me the Savo and she goes, "Come out here now." And we went outside and she goes, "I know we're in the tropics, but what the fuck is that?" And there was this thing on the ground and it looked like an alien and it took me ages. I was like, fuck, I don't know. It had these hectic dragon looking wing things. Anyway, it was a stick insect. It's just a really hectic one. But you know the ones with wings? You usually don't ever see them fly much. And so it was one of the ones with wings, and it had died, and all its wings were fully open. So it had these big, colourful purple wings, but then it just looked like this alien stick. It was crazy, and it took me a while. But, yeah, it was some kind of stick insect, man, but it was dead. And it looked pretty fucked up. And my missus was like, "Oh, what even animal is that?" She was freaking out. Oh, man,
We got
it's
some
so
special
good.
shit up here. Like I went for a walk up the mountain here at Mount Stewart, just up the back here, and there's a big lookout and a walk around there. And I was there with the family, and Mrs. Look points to the fucking, "Oh, look at that beautiful butterfly," as it swoops in, and this giant fucking spider just comes straight down onto this fucking butterfly at the same time. Man, had legs like this long. It was fucking. I'd never seen anything like it. It was the weirdest looking spider, but man, I couldn't believe the timing. Hey, look at that! Boom, straight down on it.
Just chewed it.
Yeah, just come out of nowhere and ate this thing, right in front of us. Like, welcome to Queensland, man.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? I saw those, those things, and they look like mosquitoes, but they're like fucking the size of a cricket ball. Like, they're huge. Have you seen them? They look like a mosquito, like a huge mosquito, but they're not actually mosquitoes. They don't suck blood. They're a different animal, but they just look like.
I'm kind of glad about that.
Well, I saw one of them one night, and I didn't know, and I was like, I took a photo and put it on Facebook, and I'm like, what kind of fucking Jumanji ass mosquito is this? And I was like, it's the size of my fist. It is fucking huge. But apparently they're really lovely, and they don't eat. They're not bad for people, and they're not aggressive or anything. And they, and they get a bad rap because they look like a huge mosquito, so people kill them. And there's, they're nowhere near as bad. But oh man, they're that tripped me out too. Fucking huge, mozzie.
Google bird spider. Alrighty then.
Yeah, bird spider. Do you remember the golden orbs?
Oh yeah, beautiful things, and we got and the St Andrews cross ones that we've got up here too make a really nice web.
We had a thing when I lived on the cattle station. It was the dance of the golden orb. It was actually a dance because we used to fly around mustering cattle in the back of utes or sometimes on horseback. We didn't do the motorbike four-wheeler thing. We did the like bull catches, like short wheelbase Land Cruisers and shit like that, with the tops chopped off. And so anyway, the point is that there's always you standing in the back of utes quite often going through the scrub, and you go between these two bushes, and there'd be this golden orb, a 3 or 4 meter golden orb web with a big fat golden orb right in the middle, and we go straight through it, and you just feel the web wrap around your whole head, and then you just do the dance of the golden orb. Get the fuck off me with it, because those things are like birds, dude. And that was it was an amazing dance, and we all did it at some point.
Yeah. And I remember this one time I was coming home, after a session with some mates, walking the streets, and I fucking, oh shit, bloody spider web, you're peeling the fucking thing off and brushing myself off, hoping I, got rid of whatever it was. And thinking, yep, cool. I can't feel anything crawling on me. I'll be right. I walk around the corner, go inside, take my jacket off, and there's this monster fucking spider inside my frigging jacket. I'm like, Struth, come home with me.
And you let it out at your house and all.
Oh, I killed it. Like, because I've taken my jacket off and thrown it down on the couch sort of thing, and I've seen this huge freaking spider there. I'm like, fuck.
Man, I actually love spiders. I don't love them feeling of them on me. But I love them as an animal. They're awesome. I would definitely have pet spiders. My son wanted tarantulas, but I'm not sure if you can have tarantulas in Australia, or I think there's an Aussie version of a tarantula that you can keep. You got to get a license for or something. But snakes are fun. I had some pet snakes. You seem like the sort of guy that would have a pet snake or had one once.
Oh, look, I think snakes are best left away. But yeah, this is that bird spider, man. The Goliath bird eater, biggest spider in the world. How's that one?
Where's that from? That is huge. That's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What's his hand there? Run, dude! Ooh.
Yeah.
I would have one as a pet, but I wouldn't touch the fucking thing.
I think it's South America or something.
It has to be
Venezuela.
I'm trying to remember what the name of that.
Brazil. There you go. French Guyana. I don't even know how to say that. And Brazil. So yeah, South America. I remember watching ages ago. This dude fucking puts his head on the log and he lets one climb over his fucking face. I'm like, fuck that, man. I'll be right.
Yeah, man. That's mad.
Hey, there you go. The bird eating spider.
How much fun. Hey, so just to change subject a bit, so you were talking the other day about, were you talking about the elections or something for the mayor in Townsville? Was that a long time ago? Or was that the other day? We were talking about something.
Yeah, I think it was the other day I mentioned it because, yeah, like I had Troy Thompson, he is our mayor, but he's been put on forced leave for 12 months while the former operatives of the council take control again.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's how this ended up on the board, the fail of the year from 10 years in Townsville Bully, because they just kept fucking harassing constantly, basically trying to convince the public that he's a bad guy. And because he come on my podcast originally while he was doing his campaign, we did it. I think it was a 2.5-hour podcast, and anybody who watches that podcast will see why they wanted to get rid of him, because the things we discussed and the ideas we were putting out there was like, yeah, shit they don't want out.
He's obviously got a brain and he knows how to use it, and they can't have that.
Yeah. So, on the podcast, he said that he was in the military for 5 years. It turned out it was actually 3. One of the weird things in the question I'm still waiting for the answer to is, how did the mainstream media know beforehand? Because he had to go and get his military records in the attempt to try and prove that, hey, what he said was true. But it wasn't until he got his records that he realized, oh shit, it wasn't. But how did the mainstream media know? Well, I mean, he had to pull some strings to try and get his records as fast as he could. So how the hell did that information get linked?
And why does it? I guess I was going to say, why does it matter? Like, if you're just in a podcast, it's not like if you're just having a chat and you're like, oh yeah, 5, or was he like really straight up like it was 5 years that I was in, or was it just like, oh,
Yeah, he was
I was
pretty.
never
Yep, it was 5 years. I've done this, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that, and he rolled it off pretty well in the sense. Truth, I didn't even bat an eyelid to it. It was only because a couple of weeks later they start using my podcast against
and
him
they're like,
to try and
technically it's 3 years, and now he's the worst person in the fucking world because he said 5 instead of 3.
Yep, pretty much.
Could you imagine if they got treated with the same sort of let's say gusto when it comes to checking what they've said and then picking them up on details and then roasting them over something like missaid or done, because that's pretty much all they do is talk shit and say incorrect things non-stop.
The Townsville Bulletin did that to the rest of the politicians and particularly the council members in this town, and truth, they'd all be out of a job.
Yeah,
they're all done some severely dodgy shit. Like I don't understand why. We've got we've got issues over on Magnetic Island where the now acting mayor who gave herself a new job leading up to Christmas, that was her Christmas present to herself, obviously, was to make herself the new acting mayor. So once they got rid of their mayor, then they got rid of the deputy mayor so that she could assume control.
So they're just getting rid of whoever they want. So basically it means voting doesn't mean shit.
Exactly what everybody's saying, to the point where the Townsville Bulletin keeps shutting the comments down because people keep pointing out that they're not doing their job properly. And you want to harass the shit out of the mayor for one little slip up, but you're going to sit there and watch this woman basically put forth a hostile takeover of the Townsville City Council and then support it too. Like, they're backing her. It's like, wow, this isn't corrupt.
What's their reasoning for doing that?
I'd say the fact that the former mayor, the one that was supposed to win, is an advisor to the board of the Townsville Bulletin, because that's not corruption at all either. A lot of dodgy shit going on.
Oh, out, man! Little old Townsville just getting all up in the just doing whatever they want. So there's no accountability in Townsville, obviously.
We pointed that out on that 2.5 hour podcast, and nobody's ever challenged us on it. So it must be true.
Oh, otherwise they would have, if they got him over some little detail like that, then if you'd said something incorrect, they would have absolutely flipped on that. Well, that's the same as Robert Kennedy Jr.'s all his books, but especially his The Real Anthony Fauci book. Yep. That's been out now for what? 2 years? 2.5 years, maybe.
I reckon, give or take.
He hasn't been sued or challenged on a single thing that he wrote in that book, and that book is damning. It made me sick.
Yeah, you get real angry real quick reading that book.
Fuck, man, I struggled. I had to put it down. Like, I was listening to it because I was driving a lot at the time to Mariba and back and doing a lot of one-man jobs at the time. So I just had headphones on and I was just doing like 6-hour stints of this goddamn book, man. And there were moments I had to turn it off and give it a spell, man, because I was getting like emotional, man, especially things like I really got upset when he started talking about the tests that the Fauci gulag did on the ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine to prove that they're no longer safe and that they needed to be taken off the shelves, and no doctors were allowed to administer them anymore or prescribe them anymore in the world. And so the tests and the trials that they did to prove that was a moment where I got upset, because obviously they got old, sick people and then essentially gave them a week's worth in a day, every single day, and killed them all, and then said, look how dangerous this shit is. Yeah. And then I obviously got sick when it started getting into the childhood stuff. The AIDS thing was pretty brutal, but the childhood vaccination stuff really started when they were talking about how they did all their trials and testing on the all orphans and kids without anyone that can stand up for them. And they were just paying off the hospitals and just using these kids. And if the kids refused to take the medicines and the things that they were trying to trial them, they would just put a fucking tube into their stomach and pump them in. So like bypass having to go down the mouth and the throat until they died. Man, that's when...
Like you go through the history books, they've been doing this shit for a good 100 odd bloody years now.
And I think that's why they're so desensitized to it. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
What's little old me and you? Who gives a fuck about some kid? We've been killing them for 200 years, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't care.
They were throwing them in volcanoes once upon a time, you know? Like, you got to appease the volcano god.
Yeah, absolutely, actually.
The human race is fucked. So, but in response to the Anthony Fauci, I thought I'd have a quick look because nothing gets laughed quite like Wikipedia. You know, and it was 2001. But I love the way, they talk about, what the book in the book, he promotes HIV and AIDS denialism, misinformation about Fauci's role, but they don't actually point out what the misinformation is. They just call it misinformation. They don't provide any evidence for the things that they state. In response, Fauci called the book unfortunate. Why? Because it told the truth and characterized Kennedy as a very disturbed individual. Well, that's a slanderous statement. And I'm surprised Kennedy hasn't taken him to task for that. Of a meeting he had with Kennedy to discuss vaccines early in his tenure with the Trump's administration. Fauci would later recall, "I don't know what's going on in Kennedy's head, but it's not good." And they got the publication. The Real Anthony Fauci is a 480-page book written by the anti-vaccination conspiracy theorist Robert F. Kennedy. So again, we've got no facts or anything to back up what we're saying. We'll just throw slander.
So the way that they've just absolutely gone all in on that, and every single sentence is as much like trying to put anyone that reads it into the wrong direction, makes you know that it's all true. Like nothing screams that every word in that book to me is factual. Nothing screams it more than what that. And I guarantee that whoever's written all this, or the collective of whoever's written it all, hasn't actually read the book either. I guarantee it.
Again.
Because
he shares his opinion that these vaccines are not sufficient,
which is untrue. If you actually read the book, and he says, "This is my opinion," occasionally, and he absolutely says, "This is my opinion," and that's like a sentence or two at the end of a chapter.
Yeah,
where he goes through all the trials, all the tests, all the evidence, and all the source material of where he got the information and who had looked into it, and what that information actually says. You know what I mean? It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, man. Yeah, it is. But look, at the end of the day, it sold over 1 million copies and remained the New York Times bestseller for 17 weeks.
Isn't that a kick in the fucking face?
Yeah. After you put through all this slanderous bullshit, but nobody's listening to what we're saying here because everybody bought the book anyway. Fucking hilarious.
Well, everybody knows, man. I think everybody clicks on Wikipedia these days. Why do you think Wikipedia is struggling and it's not far off essentially dying? Because it's become a gross propaganda machine. In the most obvious way.
Obvious. Yeah, painfully obvious.
It's painfully obvious. They're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to like be a little bit unbiased and then slip in some bullshit. Like they're just straight up blatantly lies. And then they go, and everyone knows that everything on Wikipedia is bullshit and swings for opinion over fact. And then they turn around and say, we're like an encyclopedia that only deals in fact. Even that, ironically, is bullshit and a lie.
And look here, they've locked it. So nobody can actually contribute to a page that's supposed to be
fully contributable.
Public contribution is what it's supposed to be, the whole basis of this thing.
Why? I would love to hack Wikipedia and get in there for a day and change some shit and then lock and just kick them all out. I'd love to do an Elon Musk and buy it and then just make it absolutely legit.
Well, they're constantly asking for a handout too. Every time you look at Wikipedia, particularly
Every
on your
time. That's what
mobile
I mean.
phone, it comes up with a big blurb about how, it's only just donate a cup of coffee or whatnot. And like, well, if you fucking didn't do dodgy shit like this, maybe I might consider doing something
The
like that.
only reason you look at Wikipedia these days is to have a laugh at how fucked it is. Like, I have never
Same as
used it.
buying the Townsville Bulletin.
Is it true, or did you read it in the Townsville Bulletin? Absolutely. Get some shirts
That's
made,
a
man.
t-shirt. That's a t-shirt. Fucking
That's
oath.
a
Oh,
shirt, man.
done. That's going to be happening this year, along with
Make
I Am
it.
Blackboard.
Yeah.
Because you were there with I think we did a podcast with you guys about that when Tom got famous, because he was on the podcast. We were talking about the whole Blackboard conspiracy theorist.
Oh, mate, that was funny. That was funny.
Hilarious.
But I've talked about it a few times, and I'll talk about it again.
Sent that text through going, man, you're famous. You're on Channel 9. I tuned into the podcast and holy shit, Batty just, man, he looked genuinely worried. It was worth it just to get that look on his face.
Oh, that's funny. See, you've been in the world of news and film because you used to be the man behind the camera and still are.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Not with the mainstream media. I won't work for them anymore. Like it's even worse now than it was before.
Right.
You'll find. I'm sure it's the same up there as it is here. You turn on that news and you'll see those faces are a revolving door. Nobody stays in the mainstream media for very long.
No.
Most of the reporters end up going to become what's the term I'm looking for? Media advisors for various other politicians and organizations. So once they've gone in and they've got an idea of how the media works, then they become the advisor to somebody who should be a little bit more cautious about what you say and how and where to the mainstream
because they're like,
media.
Hey, they'll trick you into saying this, and they'll trick you about this, and you'll fucking get a thing. Yeah. Well, that's definitely like Trump. Trump this time around must have had a whole team of advisors because in the whole run, everyone was expecting him to be the same old Trump, and in a way, it's almost like he baited him into really thinking he was going to be like that. And he wasn't doing outrageous tweets like he was the first time around. In 2016, man, it was absolute chaos. He was just roasting cunts on Twitter and fucking calling people names and just popping off every day, even when he was a president. It was crazy, man. And this time around, everyone was expecting him to do that, and he still had the same smart mouth, but he just held it in, and he did it a lot better, and he was a lot more professional about everything he did. And then when everyone thought he was just gonna, when it really got sort of personal and everything, he just held steady and did his thing. They tried to impeach him, and they tried to put him in jail, and they tried to pull him off the ballots, and they tried to do every trick under the book. They tried to assassinate the dude. And he just didn't really give a fuck ever. And it made me laugh because he obviously had some insane media advisors telling him how to fucking, act and respond, and he obviously did it. So, I'm not the biggest Trump fan for no other reason than I'm just like, politicians and the way our politicians are, whether it's American politics or Australian. I don't think the system works. I think it's broken. I don't think there's any hope in Australia. I mean, you're telling me now about even Townsville, not even Australia. Townsville can't even elect someone in, and they actually be able to do their job without being pushed out by someone who was like, no, I want to do this.
Yep. And then we've learned a lot about the councils as well, because it's not just your councillors. There's this whole business component that goes along the side of it too, which is where the CEO comes in. And we've got like the highest paid CEO, I think, in fucking, across any council, as far as I understand. Like the president of the United States doesn't earn as much as this guy. It's fucking ridiculous. Like he's on like 700K with all his benefits and all that, and he's got $1,000 a week fucking rent assistance because he lives on the Gold Coast. It's absolutely mad. You know the council's hemorrhaging money. Oh yeah, and we're hemorrhaging
That's somebody's
money.
wage. People earn $1,000 a week. Some people don't earn that, and a lot of people don't earn that.
Yep.
A lot of people don't earn that full time.
And he's just giving it for rent. Well, I mean, we got people living in tents and shit down in Brisbane and whatnot, and here's this guy getting $1,000 bloody out of ratepayers' money to rent a property. He earns 700K. It's not like he can't afford it. Well, it's ridiculous.
That does my head in, man. And yet, yeah, people are, and there are a lot of different homeless. There's perpetually homeless. There are people that are homeless because the system's let them down, but at a certain point, mental illness and just the way they live isn't working. And obviously, there's no way that person can just get a bit of rental assistance and pull their shit back together. They need a lot more help than the average person. But there are a lot of homeless people right now that is purely because money ain't worth shit in this country.
Yep.
That's it. That's the only reason they're on the street. They deserve that rental assistance. They deserve $200 a week. That'd help them
and be
immensely. Let alone $1,000 for someone who earns $700,000 a year.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Madness. Welcome to the world.
Oh, well,
it's and the more you look, the worse it gets, and like, I've spoken to council workers, and they're like, fuck, this controversy's been good because now people are paying attention to how fucked this place is, workers I've had so many workers come up and tell me stories. I'm like, mate, would you want to come? Can you come on the podcast and tell your story? Oh no, I'll lose my job. Oh no, I can't come out and tell. I'm happy to tell you. Why don't you tell me? Well, I can get on there and say, well, I spoke to this random guy that I'd never met before down at the pub the other day, and he told me this story. It must be true. It's almost as good as I read it on Wikipedia on the Townsville Bulletin. Yeah. Like, sorry, I need someone to actually come forward and blow the whistle here. I can't just say I met some random at the pub and he told me this story.
Yeah,
and I've heard so many of them. Even when I was in the mainstream media, I'd be down at the pub and talk to somebody. Oh yeah, I work for Channel 10 or 9 or whichever one it was that week. Oh man, I've got this story, and they spend a good 20 minutes telling me all about this corrupt avenue of what's happening here in Townsville. I'm like, cool. Can you come forward and tell? Oh no, I can't do that. But you are happy to tell some guy in the pub you just met. What?
Yeah, one beer in. Look. I can kind of understand, not really, because I'll jump up and say anything, obviously, but some people get worried that, I mean, this landscape at the moment of social media, where there are people over in UK getting arrested for things they've said. Once you've said it and it's online, you can't take it down. Yeah, like normal people can't usually.
Well, if they're watching you good and proper, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, once it's out, it's out. I do understand that some people, especially if they think they've got something a little bit crazy, and I mean whistleblowers these days are not protected at all.
No,
at all. Look at Julian Assange, and I know that's a fairly big example. But I mean, he just released emails, really. That was really all they wanted him for. And if he wasn't so well known, he would have died. He would have just been suicided immediately.
Oh, I'd say it was the fact that so many people got behind that, cause to have him freed is the only reason he survived.
They wanted him to just fade off into the night and become a memory of, oh, yeah, that was that bloke back in the day. What's he doing these days? Oh, is he still in Ecuador? Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah. What? Where is he?
He's from Townsville?
Is he really?
Yeah, he was from Townsville. Seems it's the breeding ground for rebellion.
I didn't know that he was from Townsville. Poor cunt, man. You got to feel for him. And did you hear about the whistleblower, the OpenAI whistleblower that was recently suicided in America?
No.
So it was an Indian guy, and I've been seeing a lot of chatter about it. But essentially, this Indian guy had all these. He was whistleblowing the OpenAI programming. It wasn't anything major like crimes against humanity, but there was he had a lot of copyright issues, and he had a lot of sort of who's running it and who's in charge, and the way that they're using people's work, and the way that they were essentially training their AIs is off the backs of stuff that other people have done. They're profiting majorly off it, and then no one that had created any of the stuff that they're using for the AIs to learn and generate their information and whatnot. No one but like outside of the programmers is getting any of the profit or the recognition. And so that was one of his major ones. But there was a few other things that he had concerns with how they were doing it. There he is.
OpenAI whistleblower found dead. And this is the one thing, when the more you look at these people, the more you realize they love to play these kind of games. He was 26 and discovered on the 26th of November.
Isn't that fucked? Isn't it weird?
They like to play their games.
So
is it really coincidence that, the whole 9/11 scenario just happens to coincide with their emergency number?
Yeah. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Like it's not a coincidence when it continues to happen.
No, it's too loose. Well, have you ever written Pfizer backwards and Googled what that word is?
No. Give it a crack though. Eh?
Try that. Do you know how
now
to spell Pfizer?
Think about how to spell it forward.
It's how do you spell Pfizer? It's
R-E.
This will do your fucking head in. It's because it's BZ. How do you spell it? Yeah, write it first. Write it out first, and then write it backwards. Right.
So R-E. Hang on, there's the proper way. So I couldn't even spell it forward, so I'm fucked.
Yeah. So R-E-Z. Is it I?
R-E-Z-I-F-P. Pfizer. Reshef.
No, hang on. Did you spell it right? I don't think it's got an I in it. Hang on. Let me have a look. I'll spell it too. So you got to spell it right.
Rezif.
Hang on. P-F-I-Z-A. Is that it?
It says it is not the name of an ancient deity, but misspelled of Pfizer, a biotech pharmaceutical company. Yeah, that's the lead story.
That's their lovely. That's the fact check. Well, you can. That's because people have been doing it, but you check what it is. And
it is very remarkably the same to Reshef, was a god associated with war and plague.
Yes, that's the one.
Originally worshipped in Ebla in the 3rd millennia BC. I'm not doing this BCE shit. It was BC when I was a kid, and it's going to stay fucking BC. Same, it was AD. I'm not doing. I don't even know what the new version is, but fuck it, I'm sticking to the old guns.
So, meaning in Hebrew. So if you look it up in Hebrew, so without the fact checking, it's basically Reshev, who was the deity of plague and war.
So coming from Hebrew, which means they borrowed it from Egypt, like most things.
Yeah. So the original was Egyptian, and it was spelt like that, and then they changed it. But anyway, the point is that they have to do a fact check on how come it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even that's sus. The fact that it's like, no, guys, it's not really actually a thing. It's this is a fact check moment where we have to step in. Fuck off, dude. It's exactly that. The deity of plagues and war and pestilence. Like, it's 3 of the fucking 4 horsemen all rolled into one.
Again. Or Burner God was the other one.
Man, like you said, they play their games.
God of plague in the underworld.
They play their games, man. It's called fucking Pfizer, bro.
Mm.
Like, what's Pfizer mean on its own? Just how it is spelt normally. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, I always
no
looked at the word and gone, who the fuck come up with that? And why is there a P in there if it's Pfizer? What do they think they're in the realm of pterodactyls and they need a silent P in there to make it sound fancy?
Or PH. I was always spelling it PH, and then I was like, hang on, it's PF.
Yeah.
Pfizer.
Yeah, because your phone is PH again.
PH. That's what I thought.
It's a perfectly good fucking F there. Why the fuck are we spelling it PH? It's just stupid. Yeah, lots of things I have grievances with the English language. Like, why does C sound like K and S? We've got a K, we've got an S. What the fuck are we doing with this letter? It's fucking pointless. Yeah, and Q. There's another useless letter, other than the fact that
Q's a punk. Q's
like,
again,
it's always QU, which is KW. Yeah, and then KW is the proper sound. So why not just put a K and a W instead of a Q and a U? It's just stupid.
Right. Q and a U, and why does U always have to go there? It's like no, we cruise together.
Yeah. Weird shit, man. I don't get it.
Same. So apparently, same with AstraZeneca and Omicron. Omicron. What a weird name to call a fucking, a rerun. Anyway,
like a transformer, man.
Omicron. Have you seen that video? Optimum Prime. It's Optimum Prime. Oh man! Yeah. Wikipedia will be like, "Oh yeah, this is the thing."
I thought so. It's a letter. Omicron is a letter of the Greek alphabet, number 5.
Yeah. Omicron. Anyway, man, it's just Q is a cunt.
I'm guessing you're not a Trekkie, so you probably don't realize how much of a cunt Q really was in the Star Trek stories.
I'm not that much of a Trekkie. I've watched bits and pieces, but I'm I wasn't much of a Trekkie.
I think next to the Borg, was
Q the nerdy cunt, or was he a bad guy?
It was whether he's a good guy or a bad guy is a subject of perception. So Q's like an omnipotent god-like creature, that exists outside of time and space is the way we see it, and likes to come down and play God.
Boss.
So, he gets bored, comes along and plays God and fucks with shit, just because he can, So fascinating.
Back when TV shows were dope and TV shows were cool for the sake of cool, and people wrote with inspiration and ideas and stupid ideas were fucking shot down. This whole there's no bad ideas. What a load of shit that is. There's so many. look at the current just rubbish going through our music cycles and our movie cycles at the moment. There is nothing memorable happening right now. It is all toilet water, all of it, everything,
and recycled toilet water at that,
and recycled. And that's the thing, man. I wonder sometimes, am I just aging out? Am I at that point where I'm now turning into the cynical guy that's like, all new music's terrible, get off my lawn, you kids. But it's not, because there is some good new music that's coming out every now and then, but you've got to go looking for it. It's definitely not anywhere near mainstream, obviously, and that is what it is. But it's not that I'm aging out. I'm going backwards, and I've been loving music from back to the 1920s. How can I like music from the 1920s all the way through to around about 2004 or 5, and then it starts to peter off, and then in around about 2010 and 12 it literally just nosedives, and then pretty much from there on it's like one or two good songs or good little things happen sporadically, but not much of it's memorable. There will be never another Bohemian Rhapsody. Ever. You know, because
Not with the
it'll
current
get
mindset of
muted.
music.
It'll get muted and neutralized and fucking spewed at and changed and
And then
told
given a
no, we don't.
vaccine.
That's not what the audience is looking for by the pencil pushers.
Mm,
I heard Frank Zappa had an interview once. I'm pretty sure it was Frank, and he said the best part about music industry was when he was sort of doing his thing is that there were all these dudes who were just basically investing into it, but
mm,
they didn't think that they knew anything. They knew they didn't know anything. So someone would roll up with a fucking album and they'd go, let's give it a crack. And they just throw
yeah.
it out there and see how it went. And that's why weirdos like Frank Zappa and what's the Australian, what's that Aussie guy? Nick Cave.
Mm.
Nick Cave would never have a fucking album these days if he was just coming out now. But he was huge for what he
I
did. But
couldn't
he
I
was a
couldn't actually
weirdo.
pick a Nick Cave song if my life depended on it. What
So
song did he do?
Nick Cave was born and raised with the red right hand, and he
Righto.
had that
Not
song
ringing the
with
bell.
Kylie Minogue, Wild Rose. They call me
Mm.
the Wild Rose. You remember that song? But my name was Eliza Day.
Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah, and look at Red Right Hand was his big one. He was a weirdo, man. An absolute
Mm.
weirdo. He would never have music these days. I really love that Kylie Minogue did that song with him, and the song's about how's this? Nick Cave. Yeah, Kylie's agreed to do a song with you. Yeah, she really wants to do a collaboration with another Australian artist, and she's into your sort of weird stuff. Yeah, cool. What do you want to make the song about, Nick Cave? I want to talk about murdering her and dropping her body off into a fucking lake. Yeah, done. And she agreed to it. The film clip is her floating around
Wow.
underwater dead. It's
I'll have to go check this. I'll have
awesome.
to suss that one out. I don't know how that flew under my radar somehow. I've heard of Nick Cave, and I knew Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, but I
He is a
honestly
sir.
cannot think of a song. That's pretty bad for a musician.
Someone in the Richard in the comments said he's a weirdo occultist. He might very well be.
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of thing of Richo wants
Mm.
to fuck Kylie. Apparently, maybe back in the day.
Oh, I would right now, bro. I would right now and just
Still reckon she's looking all
remembering it.
right, eh?
Man, yeah.
If we can
I
get
had a
her.
massive crush on Kylie in the day, and it was big enough for it to last all the way till now.
still holding that out
Still
for her, eh?
holding it, man. Yeah, she is awesome. Anyway, we won't talk about Kylie too much. Wild Rose, yeah, Wild Rose. That was a cracker of a song.
There you go.
The old
There she is
Kyles. How
today.
old is she now? She's getting on.
She's looking a bit grandma here.
Yeah, that's all right. She pulled that skin back a bit, and we'll hook in. He's got the glad wrap look we were talking about earlier. Have you seen that episode of The Simpsons when Homer comes out and he's like real skinny and awesome, and then it zooms
No,
around to
what's
the
that
back
one?
and he's got all his skin and fat's all got clothes pegs, like holding it from behind. He's pulled it out and put clothes pegs.
And I was more for Cindy Lauper, not Cindy Lauper, fucking what's her name, Belinda Carlisle. I reckon that's the '80s woman of my dreams.
Oh man, I'm Chrissy Amphlett. I was a Chrissy Amphlett, bit of a Chrissy Amphlett fan. I thought although I was just going on her cool rock voice and a couple of her raunchy film clips, but I've later heard how much of a fucking hound she was live and the shit she used to get up to. She was a bit feral, probably for me in her prime. I'm not exactly vanilla, but she was out of control, man. And bloody rock chick. But wasn't she from Ballarat or
I don't know.
I think Chrissy Amphlett was from Bendigo or Ballarat. I think Bendigo actually. Chrissy
How do
Amphlett.
you spell that? Oh yeah, there it is.
Chrissy
They
Amphlett.
must have known.
Video shot in Camberwell. Who's that?
Oh,
Kylie
funnel.
Minogue. She have to be about 94, Clark. She's not that old. Come on. Paul Hogan's fucking 85 or something. Like, she's younger than Paul Hogan.
All right. How old is Kylie? Well, let's settle this one.
How old is Kylie Minogue? All right, before you look it up, what are we going here?
Wow. Shit.
I say she's mid-60s.
Oh, I'm probably going to be somewhere around 70.
I'm going to say like 65, 66.
1968.
Oh, I reckon I'm close. She's almost the same age as my mum.
Apparently.
56?
That doesn't sound right.
That's not right. That's no, because 69. Oh, 68, did you say?
Yeah. Well, 56. She's born in 68, so that's 12 years.
Oh, bro, if she's only in her 50s.
So that works. No, that works.
So she's only 56.
Only 56.
Oh, she's looking rough.
But we were way off.
She got too much work done. It's all falling off.
Wow, 56. She probably puts her face on with a makeup gun.
He said she was 95. You said 70s.
Yeah, I was thinking about 70, But you think now I think about it, like, I mean, she was in like fucking Neighbours and shit like that back in the 80s. So yeah, it makes sense.
But she was only a teenager then too. Look, I'm sure she's a lovely lady. But yeah, running a bit of a muck. And who else are we talking? Oh yeah, Nick Cave. Yeah, but anyway, so back to the point, we swung all the way back around. So back in the day, the record execs and the guys, they gave shit a shot because they just did. They didn't put crazy money into it, but they let things have a go. That was also how Trent Reznor from
Sorry,
9
Victoria,
Inch
we
Nails.
didn't mean to offend you. We're offending the ladies in our audience.
Oh, sorry, the girls. We're not talking about.
I think they're taking it in tongue in cheek. They're smiley faces and laughs, so they're dealing with it. If they don't know what kind of larrikins we are by now, there's no hope for them now.
Well, and Tash said, "Yep, there you go, Wayne. She's not too old. No, she wasn't anyway. I would have smacked into that if she was 75.
Wayne was backing it the whole way.
All she got to do is pop her teeth out, and we're good to go." I don't want to have a blowout halfway through.
Oh, that's true. You might not even make it that far if you're that keen and holding on to it for all these years, man. You might she could just brush past you.
That's true. That's true. It could be embarrassing. You're just trying to stick it in like a marshmallow into a money box. It's not working. It's too late. I've already gone. We're getting out of control here. It's
yeah.
We've got to pull it back.
I would be inclined to think that these days it's kind of hard to know which one's not fucking sold out and which one is. I mean, Street, you and I have been what Rage Against the Machine fans since its fucking inception, and look at them turn. Like I would have thought of any of the bands that would have stood up during this shit that we've seen in the last few years, it would have been Rage Against the Machine, but no, they tucked their tail tucked their dicks between their legs and said, "Shoot me."
Pretty much. And look, I think there's a reason for that. I don't hate them because of that either. If anyone's getting their advice on what to and not to do with your medical stuff and whatever from bands. Even political advice. If you're taking your advice from bands, you're a fucking idiot, for starters. And for two, I think those boys got caught up, especially guys like that. I think that they've been fighting on the left for so long that they didn't realise what the left had become. And I think because of their fame and their money, they're insulated from a little bit of reality. They're not the guys on the street copping it anymore, even though they sing songs about that. Zach De La Rocca, on the other hand, I don't think he got his jabs because he was too busy off in South America fighting guerrilla wars with small villages.
Yeah.
I don't think he was involved, but at the end of the day, I think these people are so insulated. It's like Metallica and Some Kind of Monster.
Mm.
They were that movie is so crazy because they are so out of touch with reality. They didn't even know that they made a movie that was a piss take on themselves, and
Yeah.
it's essentially a second Spinal Tap. I see Some Kind of Monster as Spinal Tap too. The
Yeah.
Some Kind of Monster. It really is. And it's so entertaining to watch even
Mm.
now. And they
Yeah.
didn't know. They thought it was a sweet doco. They
Yeah.
released it anyway. It's
Uh,
just,
yeah, you got to wonder, like, where are they completely detached, or
yeah,
is it like I don't I thought it was pretty brave, really, like
I
to shit,
absolutely think that it was brave.
like to bear themselves in that way, and you got to
But do you
wonder
think they
if
did it
that's
on
what they put
purpose?
on. Oh, I'd have to say so. I reckon it's part of their psychotherapy, to be honest. But but did you
Maybe.
and then you see it towards the end there? There's the fucking the therapist that's working their way through, going, oh, but we've got so much more work to do. We're the client, and we're kind of done. I think thanks, you've helped us through. See you, mate. And
Bro,
our mate's going,
that
but this is the best cash cow I've ever had.
I know, dude. That bit was so amazing because the funny thing is that there's like it's almost a psychological method of getting people to work together and team up when
Mm,
they both have a common enemy. Um, it's a trick that some people use, like bosses use. They become the shitty stern boss. So and then there were and then they're without going too far, and then the people that had potentially were fighting um team up, like, yeah, that boss is fucked, yeah, and then they've got that in common, and then suddenly they get along, and parents use it as well. Like the
mm,
psychologist almost basically did that with Hetfield and Lars without even meaning to. He became the guy
mm,
that they both turned on, and they were like, you need
mm.
to fuck off. It was so good, and he was so upset. He's like, I thought we were moving in together. Like
Yeah.
he honestly, it was awkward for him. I was awkward for him
Yeah,
because he
he'd
was
become a part
basically
of
like,
Metallica in his mind.
he thought he was in the band, dude. he, he, he,
And it's
he
funny, I
really
remember
did.
reading this article with Dave Mustaine a little while ago, and he's just like really ripping into Lars. He's like, anybody that goes near Lars needs therapy. Even the therapist that worked with Lars needed therapy after going near him. And I'm like, and you see that final scene, you could fucking believe that dude had to go to therapy because he thought he was a part of Metallica.
He
I'm like,
really
wow.
did, man. I don't hate Lars as much as everyone else does. I think he's just full on. But I am so entertained by him.
Mm.
He is the walking epitome of ego unchecked. It is
Oh yeah.
awesome. Fuck, it's cool. And he's fucking, I talked about this the other day with PJ actually, and we talked about Some Kind of Monster, and I said one of my favorite moments in that movie is when he shows the first sort of cut of Saint Anger to his
Mm.
dad, who's
Yeah.
obviously reasonably big in the black metal or the metal community in
Mm.
Europe, and he's a musician and knows music, and he just goes, "You need to delete this." And he
Yeah.
straight tells him,
Told him exactly
so
what he thought, and you can see Lars's heartbreak there when
it
he's like,
breaks,
but
dude.
there's a lot of people who said this should be the first song on the album.
Oh man, I think he said the whole album needs to go, dude. It's
Mm,
just, it's so fun. It's so funny without meaning to be. And
mm,
Lars's heart breaks, and
yeah,
it was true. It was the worst
yeah,
thing at the time.
it is.
They've now
It
since put
still is,
worse
I
shit out.
reckon, one of the worst. I don't know. Is it possible to make a worse album than Sin Anger? Like that was so
Listen,
bad. Like there's a
listen.
couple of good riffs in there, and
There's a
and that's
couple
what
of good
kills me.
moments.
There's
There's a
some
couple
really
of good
good
songs.
hooks, and like I'm trying to think. I haven't listened to it in fucking years, to be honest. But
Don't. It's
I think
pretty
it's like track
trash.
6 or something around there.
I like the song Saint Anger on its own.
Yeah.
If you change the fucking snare, um,
Yeah,
I
man, I remember. I don't know if you've seen it, but I was going past like music shops. I think it was like Billy Hyde's in Box Hill, and they're like the Lars Ulrich signature edition
and it
snare
was
drum, not the one used on Saint Anger in bold fucking letters.
I thought you were going to say it was going to be like a bin or something, a bin lid.
Oh,
What
that's not
happened?
a
What
bad
happened there?
idea.
Well,
And you could
I've heard that.
Photoshop, Lars Ulrich signature edition snare drum and just put it on a sticker on the side of a
I bet
bin.
you it's been done. I bet you
Mm.
$1,000 it's out there.
You're probably not wrong.
I've heard about it, and I haven't heard it, but I've heard that somebody got the stems somehow to Saint Anger and remastered, worked it and
I
changed the
remixed it.
snare
Yeah.
and remixed it and remastered it and made it the exact same, just with better drums and better everything else. And apparently, it's 1,000 times better. It's not amazing, It's not. It's not no Master of Puppets or Justice for All, but it is definitely way better. I didn't like a lot of the songs.
I bought a copy of it because, well, hey, it was Metallica, and how could they go wrong? And boy, was I, given an education on how they could go wrong. But the edition I've got comes with the album, but it also has them performing it live as well. And the live performance sounds better than the fucking album.
It would, man, because I think that they got led on a bum steer. They were in a particular part of their lives where they were just surrounded by yes men, but they were all surrounded by these. They started doubting themselves, and so they were looking at these people, going, "Well, what do you guys think?" And people were like, "Trust me, this is going to be sweet." And so they trusted these people around them who had no fucking idea what they were doing, and they released a big steaming pile of shit. It was. It's just classic, man. It's classic Metallica. Do you remember Garage Inc? That was like they went through a biker stage.
What was it? So I think it was on that last fucking podcast we did. There was a word for something. What's her face? Miss Lister's sister had that word for a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy till it became fucking pointless. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's exactly what I had a copy of. Was the original Garage Inc. dubbed from LP from a friend from a friend from a friend from a friend. By the time it got to me, it was like this fucking mismatch.
Trash.
Like it was like the most B grade fucking bootleg recording you'd ever heard. It was listenable to a degree, but barely. So like when they released that, they remastered it and did the whole Garage Days thing. I'm like, fuck yeah, now I can actually listen to this properly, So I was, fuck oath, I remember that,
Oh man, I'm getting stuck in the comment section. Someone talking about fucking Lady Gaga's dick. Cliff was Metallica. Case closed. Yes, I tend to agree. Like, that's my favorite era of Metallica. I don't even, I listened to Fuel and Reload recently, and aside from the really big songs, there's a lot of filler songs on those albums that I didn't realize existed.
Yeah.
And I was listening to them recently, and I was like, this album's not that fucking good. Even Black Album's like awesome when it's awesome, but there are songs on there, well produced. But there are songs on there that you're like, this is definitely a filler. This isn't.
But it works in the continuity of the album, and that's one of those things.
No, I get that. Look,
those standout songs, the hit singles and whatnot, are good enough to stand by there. And I agree with Robin. Ride the Lightning, fuck yeah, brilliant album.
Yes, boss.
But like you listen to the Black Album from start to finish, it's a journey. And although there's a couple of songs in there that are not as flash as, say, Sad But True and, Enter Sandman, obviously, big songs. And the Unforgiven is, the big hit single because it's slower and, the standard populace can digest it because we're not throwing it at you 100 miles an hour. It's like, well, he catch the bullet rather than shooting it at you,
Yeah.
But as an album, the Black Album, there's not a dud song on it if you listen to it in its continuity.
Look, it was also it was a pioneering album of its time because they really pushed like their tone. People still want. I know bands still to this day that want the Black Album tone on their guitar, and they will go out of their way. It's fat.
And that's
You know?
layers of recording, though. That's the other thing a lot
Oh,
of people
yeah.
don't realize, it is particularly when it took me a little while reading the guitar book, going guitar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What the fuck? There's only 2 guitarists in this band. How the fuck are they got 5 guitars? What the fuck's going
Yeah,
on?
yeah,
But
yeah.
that just shows you the level of production that goes into it. Where they've layered so much shit to get that big, thick fucking sound,
That's right. And you also need the other instruments as well, especially with that kind of metal. We're getting right into the music chat here,
Yeah,
by the way. But
that's all right. That'll segue to
that
our
sort of
announcement, I
heavier
guess.
music relies heavily on the other instruments as well. For example, if you emulate Dimebag's tone
Mm,
exactly as he like get the cabs that he had and try and figure out from photos and that what his dials were,
mm,
his tone sounds quite rubbish on its own until
yeah,
you realize that the bass that it the
reps.
bass they played exactly the same thing. He
Yeah,
wasn't playing different bass licks. He was playing
mm,
what the guitar played at the same time.
yeah,
So the bass guitar filled out Dime's tone and made it
mm,
the unique and iconic tone that it was.
mm.
Without the bass there, it's a pretty thin and shit tone. And I've heard guys,
It's a bit tinny, because
it's a
it's
bit
running through
tinny, bro.
it's transistors, not revolves. That's
That's
why.
right. Yep. And so and look, it's not bad, but I've heard people go like I've got mates with Kemper profilers and they'll switch it on. They're like, yeah, this is his tone. It's like, man, it's not that good. It's not
Yeah.
fat. But then you can adjust them and you can get it so that it sounds like the Pantera tone, and then it's fuck because
Mm,
modern technology can do it, and then it sounds
yeah.
fucking awesome.
Mm,
Except for the chuggy bit at the start of Cowboys from Hell, no one can
mm,
ever get that.
yeah.
Even they couldn't get that. They had to use his
And
demo.
fucking Hostile as well. Like there's I don't know how true it is, but I remember hearing this story that once they recorded that song, all the pitch, like he had a whole bunch of old analog cheap shit pedals he was running through, and the whole
Mm.
system shorted out and fucking cooked itself right at the end of the recording. It's like, well, that's it. No one's ever getting that sound again.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that
Mm,
too. And that's
yeah.
why that song's really unique. A fucking
Mm,
excellent song, PS. I
mm.
was wearing my Pantera shirt the other night. I always try to
Did
wear
notice.
my I always try to wear my vulgar display of power shirt when I want to display power vulgarly because it's just a
Show the
dude
world a
getting
good
punched
punch
in
in the
the face.
face.
Is that Phil getting punched?
No, apparently it's some dude, and I remember we had that conversation a few months ago. We were on a joint podcast
Oh,
talking
I think
about
we
that,
were.
and I ended up looking it up, and there's actually a bit of ambiguity about the story because they they told the story a few different ways themselves to the extent that nobody really knows how that was actually done. Because the standard run of the mill story is old mate got punched in the face like 10 fucking times at like fucking $30 a punch or something to that effect, and
To get the
he
right photo,
walked out
bro.
with $300 and a fucking ice pack.
Yeah, that's what I've
So
heard. Everyone, yeah.
yeah, and then that's the standard story they ran, but there's a bit of question as to how true that story actually is. We might have a look at it again.
Oh, boss, Testament. Yes, Richard comes in with the
Oh yeah.
Testament call,
Oh,
and
Richo knows his metal. Richo actually here that's popping up here. Good friend, dear brother. How art thou? Thank you for tuning in. Richo actually used to do a lot of work, helping promote Bogan Nation back in the day.
oh,
So yeah,
really?
he's a very, very good friend, put on a lot of gigs back in the day for us. That was his contribution to the scene, was to put on gigs. He couldn't play, as he says, so he did what he could do and, set up gigs. So
Which is fucking important because without shows and places and promotion, because essentially putting on a show means putting your shit on the line to hope
yeah,
that you get a turnout and everyone is happy. That's necessary, man. That's a whole
yeah.
job on its own. And these days, yeah, it's rough, man.
Oh, it
Especially
is.
after COVID, it's fucking rough.
It was fucked beforehand. Like we were talking about putting gigs on at Crowell Castle and all sorts of shit. We thought, wow,
Yeah,
how awesome would that be? Fucking medieval castle there in outside of Ballarat, put on a fucking metal gig. Like that's the
that'd
ultimate
be
place for
sick.
a metal gig. And we tapped the idea out and we tried, analyzing it, but at the end of the day, fuck, needed a shitload of money. Need a
It
shitload of money.
always comes down to a shitload of money and then a huge shitload of risk, because if you just do one thing wrong, or you don't get it out to enough people, or it's not interesting enough, and you don't have people turn up, it's a huge letdown for the bands, and it's a huge fucking financial just burden. It's rough, man. Rough. Putting on shows
Fucking
fucking sucks. But it was awesome and worth it while I was doing it. But
yeah, it was
man,
always
you know what
fun.
I found up here? It's been shit since I've been in Cairns. No one's really motivated up here at all. I've had a chat with a couple of people, like, hey, we should do a thing. I've been trying to start a Limp Bizkit cover band.
Okay.
And because I had one in Melbourne for a laugh, like me and a bunch of mates. Obviously, I had my band, but a couple of boys, we were on the piss one night, and someone was like, "You'd make a good Fred," and I'm like, I know
I can
all
see
the
that.
songs, and I actually sound like him when I do it. I can sound very close to Fred. And so the boys were like, "Yeah, man, we could learn these songs in a couple of weeks." So we put this big show on, sold it out, had like it's fucked, man. You're in an original band for years and years, and you struggle, and then you do a Limp Bizkit show, and everyone rocks up. But it was so much fun because we were taking the piss, and it was fun. And anyway, then I moved up here, and I don't want to start another band because I'm still doing stuff with mine, and I barely have time with them, just writing and recording over the internet. So I don't want to start an actual band. So I was like, man, maybe just to keep me fucking loose and limber, I could get another Limp Bizkit sort of session happening. Oh, fucking hell, man. And I had tryouts, and I had people coming around, and it's been like a year, and it's just not happened, man. People can't be fucked. And they're all keen. It's like then they just can't be bothered showing up. It's fucking hard, man.
And it was like that in Melbourne too. Like, fuck, it was hard to get your bandmates to turn up to fucking rehearsal. Like, struth.
Have you
The
seen?
amount of shit I had to go through to try and get I don't know if you were the one running the show, but I never wanted to. I just ended up doing it because somebody had to put order to the fucking
There's always
mayhem.
the dad. It's the band dad.
Somebody's got to do it, and it got to a point where, like, I had a group of banddads, and we'd have banddad camp and sit down, and we'd all decide how we're going to do shit because no other cunt would fucking help us. I had to find other leaders of bands to sit down and go, right, what are we going to do? Because these cunts, I can't even get them to turn up to rehearsal half the time. And then you find the gig, you get your gig date, then you got and there was no Facebook or anything, so you're like phone calling backwards and forwards. It's been like an hour, 2 hours or whatnot, going backwards and forwards to people. Oh, can you do this day? Can you do that? Oh, no, old mate can't do this. He can do this. Or like, what the fuck? Why do you cunts make my life so fucking hard? But at the end of the day, like, if I didn't do anything, nothing got done. And the end of many a band that I was in was the day I was gone, well, if I just do this,
well, I can't be fucked anymore. Yeah, implosion.
And that was the end of the band. It was amazing. Like, it literally just ceased to function because I stopped doing things, And after you've run that experiment a few times, you get to a point and you're like, you know what, I can't be fucked. Why am I doing this for these people? They're all just you hear the expression, like the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, this wasn't a chain; it was a fucking key ring. I'm a key ring, and everybody's hanging on. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, that's a great analogy, man. I like that. That's good. Well, have you ever heard of a band called 12 Foot Ninja?
Yes, actually. A friend Jamie, who used to run the All Things Metal website, he had them come over to Melbourne fucking a while back, and we put on a couple of gigs with them, hung out with them too. They're good dudes.
Oh, true.
Yeah, well, he fucking went and got the 12 Foot Ninja fucking logo tattooed on his fucking hand.
A lot of people get it. They had a song out a few years ago now that has a skit at the very beginning of it, and it's fucking funny, man. And it's basically they basically dress up as like the typical Melbourne band guys all meeting up for their rehearsal, and all they do is stand out the front of the rehearsal center and talk about how busy they've been. And that's what they do. But he's like, how busy have you been? And he's like, oh, I've been fucking busy. And it's this whole skit. And instead of going in and rehearsing and actually doing anything, they're just talking about how fucking busy they are. And dude, it is actually awesome. If you can find it, man, look it
I'll have
up.
to
I
suss
can't
it
remember the
out.
name of the song. 12-Foot Ninja Busy will probably come up with a hit. It is, and it's an excellent song. Their new stuff was really good. I mean, their old stuff. I was actually a really big fan of all their stuff, but the last album that they ever did, it was very much a cross between Faith No More and like Aussie nu metal.
Righto.
So it was like sort of this nu metal vibe, but it has this very Faith No More-y sort of Mike Patton vibe to it. It was excellent, man. Excellent album. I really
Oh, so it's
dug
the
it.
2021. Righto. So it's a
Yeah,
newer
yeah.
album. Okay, cool. That'd explain why I haven't heard it. Yeah,
Um,
they've got a couple of YouTube videos. I'll suss that out later.
have a look at the I'm Busy one. You'll know it straight from the start. It's
Yeah.
hilarious, man. And
Oh
when
man, I just you telling it. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's
we
amazing.
sorted,
And it wasn't just band members. It's like a lot of people in the industry are just like so fucking busy, you know.
yep.
Like I love Brother Strawn. You know, he was a huge part of Bogan Nation. He probably did a lot more for the fucking band than fucking the band members did half the time. But you know, he was our
Yeah.
producer and you know helped us out with a lot of fucking things. But every time you call him, you know, hey man, how you been? Oh fuck, so busy, man. You know, like everybody wants a piece of my ass. It's like, dude, it's your job to run a studio and record shit. Yes, we want the job done yesterday, not fucking 3 weeks from now. You know, sorry, we're
Yeah.
assholes. We want it now.
Yeah, I didn't really care how busy you were, mate. Just get on it. Yeah,
So have you done any work on? Oh no, I haven't had a chance, mate. You know.
I've been trying to break the habit, man, because you walk around at work, especially where I've been working. I'm finished now, pretty much, but I was working at the mental health unit. So there's like 100+ guys on site every day, and everyone walks past. How you going? And you know, and I've been breaking the cycle because everyone living the dream, yeah, living the dream, and it's like, oh man, we got to come up with a new one. And
Well,
then
I've solved that one. When somebody says to you, "I'm living the dream," you turn around and you go, "Have you figured out whose dream it is yet?" Because to me, it's a fucking nightmare.
Nightmares are dreams too, and
Exactly, and that's one of the comments. You know, it's amazing the kind of responses you get.
I did this work for these Russian mafia members in Melbourne once. Like legit, the dude owned brothels and fucking they were crazy. And they walked around in tracksuits. We were up on a penthouse building a deck for them, and they were walking around in tracksuits and like they're all talking in like Russian. And then old mate's like main heavy was sort of watching the place to make sure everything was all sweet. And he was like a fucking big scar over his eye, ex-KGB looking motherfucker, man. Like these dudes were proper. And like, how you going to one of them one day? And he's like, the dream is real. And I was like, yes, it's the Russian version of living the dream. The dream is real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just say I'm so good, like, because other people are like to say living the dream, or they'll whinge. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm fucking so busy," or this and that, and you're like, "Man, I didn't actually want you to fucking shit on my happiness today."
Yeah.
So these days, whenever anyone says, "How you going?" I just go, "I'm so good, man. How are you?" Like I just make it up. No one wants to know if you're not good. Don't burden people with that. Just
Well,
say you're
I'm
good.
sorry if I'm in a shit mood and someone says, "How are you?" I'm going to tell them, "Thanks for asking." I'm on a fucking
Do you
cunt of a
go
mood.
into the story?
Barbecue caught fire. And,
Here's what I have a list ready to go. Wow, you want to know?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. You know,
Kicked the dog this morning.
that was our Christmas. Merry Christmas. The barbecue caught fire. Our dinner went fucking up in flames with it. Like, hey, that was a great day. You know, how's your Christmas? Fucking shit, man.
Oh
I was
man,
speaking to the lady at fucking work cover or whatever it was today, you know, and she's like, "So how was your Christmas?" "Yeah, fucking horrible. My barbecue caught fire." She goes, "Shit, I wasn't expecting that." I'm like, "Neither were we."
it was
Would have had a
quite out
flame
of the
blanket
blue.
ready if I'd have known.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to shoot off in about 5 or so minutes, man.
That's all
Pretty
right.
soon.
I reckon it's probably getting about that point. So last ice cube just come out the tray. So,
oh, boss, he's on.
there you go. Pour one last drink to share with all my amazing online friends and all the beautiful people who continue to support all of us at Cafe Locked-Out and our various little, podcasts and whatnot. It's amazing to see how big it's grown since, I've jumped on board.
Oh man, it's crazy. All right, it's actually blowing up, man. It's doing my head in, but in a good way. I can't believe it.
And we still managed to make order out of chaos. So
yes, or chaos out of order. I think.
Yeah.
Either one, I think it's great. I think what we're doing, and I think where we're heading this year, especially, we've been talking about it a fair bit, especially the other day, and with Michael and that. I think we're creating a little online community, and it's slow and steady, but it's being built correctly. Which is always slow. It's not some slap together thing, and I think it is the way out. I think the way out is to create our own way of living.
Yeah.
Outside of because everyone's like, how are we going to do this? But we can't just march. We can't just make everyone march. It won't really work. And we can't just fight, and we can't do the things that you kind of want to do yet, at least. We can, but we can't. And but what we can do is create the community that can do that when it's needed, even though I guess it's needed now, but we need the community behind so that everyone can do it, because there's no point marching if you become homeless because of it, or you get targeted or you get arrested. Like there are certain times to sacrifice yourself and there are certain times not to. And I think we're in the building stage right now, and I think it's good. I think it's what we need, and I think the marching time is coming.
And it's killing these lamestream conspiracy theorists. Like every time they look at what the community's building, right-wing conspiracy theorists. So I just hold up the mirror and go, oh, well, you're left-wing conspiracy theorists, and I've got the proof because you tried to tell me that an Indigenous fellow was Troy Thompson, you fucking lying scumbags. You didn't even bother to wait for a decent response. And for Channel 10, they actually called me. I gave them a decent response, laughed in their face, told them to go and do their job properly. They didn't
and then they played it.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking hilarious, isn't it?
That's how dumb they are.
I wasn't even trying to fuck with them, but
man.
At the end of the day, it's all on now. So,
and I think that's the point. I think that if you fight aggressively every time, and that's fire with fire, they're being aggressive. If you fight aggressively every single time, it can lose. You end up fighting aggressively, and there are a lot of people in the middle not giving a fuck about the fights. A lot of us have just sat there and put our hands up and gone, cool, man. I guess I'm a conspiracy theorist. Cool. I guess I'm a neo-Nazi then. Whatever. And now, and they're just, and they're getting frustrated and angry, and they're doubling down, but it's neutering their own punches. Their punches are now soft as fuck. No one cares about being cancelled anymore. No one cares if they're called a right-wing conspiracy theorist, and no one cares if we're called neo-Nazis and racist bigots, because everybody's heard them screaming it about anyone and everyone for so long now that those words have lost their sting. And we're sitting there just giggling, going, but we were right. And we haven't had to actually fight. And I think that's why we're winning.
Yeah, definitely. We've taken, like you said, we've taken the sting out of all their punches. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
They used their biggest hits from the beginning. They didn't. They just went straight into try and knock him out mode, and they're gassed out now.
Well, this mob won't even mention me anymore. They used to think it was an intimidating thing to point out my name and my network and all that sort of stuff in the bully and various other places. But once I started laughing at them and saying, "Thanks, guys, can you keep selling my shit for me?" They shut up and realized what they were doing. It's like the Ozzy Osbourne. No, not Ozzy Osbourne. It was Alice Cooper bites head off chicken scenario.
Yeah,
you've heard that story.
Yeah. Because it was bullshit. Yeah, but he it sold fucking albums, so he ran with it. He didn't. Same
Well,
as Marilyn Manson sucks his own dick. Like that was bullshit, but it sold fucking tons of albums.
Mm.
You know, all of that stuff, man. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Shock
So
value.
fucking, hey, you're talking about me, you're selling me one way or the other.
Right.
Doesn't matter. So like, I was happy, you know, and the reaction, you know, I got from the general public was people actually coming up and saying, fucking love your work. No, not one piece of negative feedback other than the mainstream media.
Yeah.
The general public liked it and they fucking hate that, pissed them off. You know, that's where I've beaten them. You know,
Yeah.
and
100%.
I understand their mentality. They don't understand ours.
And Jan just says here, I used to hate the word cooker. Now I don't care. I actually laugh because I'm like, I might be a cooker, but you're cooked. Like, like I'd rather be a cooker than the cooked because fucking just roast away, you dickhead. You know, they think that it's a bad word. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like I was having a yarn with, you know, some of the prospective politicians here in town who still got some, you know, designs for doing things. You know, like this term cooker is fucking ridiculous. It's funny as fuck. Like, well, what kind of cooker are you? You know, and like, hang on. You know what? I'm a fucking four burner Barbie.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
You know, I'm a Weber. What kind of cook type are you? You gas or electric, man?
Gas every day. It causes heart attacks and clots, apparently.
I like that, Richo. Call them the clotter. I may be a cooker, but you're a clotter.
That's actually pretty good. Well, man, I better go. I love your work, right, dude. Thanks for having me on. Friend. Good chat. Anytime. Friday night. It's weird right now. I don't know what day of the week it is, to be honest, really. But
that time of year. But hey,
thanks
look,
for having me on.
Man, a pleasure. And I know we will get around to it. We will do our music, you know, the music that made us podcast at some point.
We accidentally started it already. Just before
here we are.
Well, it just goes to show we talked for about 25 minutes about Metallica. So we can do this.
Easy.
We can do it. I think we can easily do it.
Yeah, we'll nut it out and we'll release it to the public. And you know, I've you know, one of those things we just wanted to nut out was how do we do this without setting off all the copyright laws and all that? And perhaps Rumble, it will have to be a Rumble only show to do it in that. Let's sit there and immerse ourselves in that song, play the song and film clip if available, you know, so everybody can sort of experience the moment at the same time. I even entertain the idea of perhaps reaching out to some of these bands, but I dare say most of them will just shit.
No, and even if you did, man, they fucking drag you down anyway, man. Even if you've got like we've had people who've made their own music and then got copyright flaggings all over fucking thing. My band, I've used my own band's music and got copyright flagged, and none of the and it gives me big lists of shit. Of who's getting revenue, and we're not monetized anyway. What the fuck's not monetized? It's going, your monetized video has breached blah 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 and this and that, and then it's like these are all the companies that are getting fucking revenue from your advertising revenue, and I'm like, sweet. We've never even received 0.3 of a cent for any advertisers. So if you're taking 0.0004 and giving it to them, who gives a fuck? Otherwise, why haven't we received, if we're making bulk bank, then why haven't we received anything ever? And then the other thing is, that's my fucking music. I wrote that shit.
So
go
who's
fuck yourself. Exactly. Who's claiming it?
So anyway, they don't actually tell you who's claiming it?
Oh, yeah, they do. And it's just full lists and lists. I've posted it a few times. Look, at the end of the day, what it is no one really is. It's a scare tactic.
Yeah.
Because they're assuming that we are monetized, and they're assuming because we do weekly streams that it's some sort of thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Because the usual is that only people that do 100 episodes of anything are trying to make money off it. Right. So they're doing the old bluff tactic of, your monetized video, didn't realize it was monetized, is losing all of its revenue to thousands of fucking cunts. And it's not. And we didn't play anything that was wrong at all. They just don't want us to stream anymore. They want us to change how we're streaming.
Yeah.
And so to that, I just always I write these big letters back calling them fuckwits and all sorts of. I just try and get as really creative as I can with. I actually got AI to help me come up with some really creative shit the other day. It was fun, and then posted it to them. But yeah, look, it's just scare tactics, man. They don't want us doing our show. We don't, and you and all Cafe Locked Out. They don't want us doing it anymore because we are sowing seeds of fucking thinking for yourself and critical thinking, and we're making jokes about it, which makes it real. You know,
it's amazing
and people,
joke real,
isn't it? Well, it's the Australian thing too. It's gallows humor. Australians are known for it. The gallows humor. That's I never knew, but it was. I went through that midlife crisis phase of getting right into World War One and Two. And
I think we all have that phase. I still dabble in it, particularly World War II.
I dabble. But one of the main things that a takeaway from one of the books that I read was these guys were saying Australians and actually Canadians had this reputation for being fucking intense, and I like soldiers, and I always assumed that it meant that we were crazy, run out with the guns and do like way better than everyone else. But when they clarified it in these books, they said it wasn't so much that we were better than, better trained or better like warriors. It was that in the face of absolute fucking madness, and especially World War One, and like there was shellings, like people were getting in trenches, were getting shelled for 30 days straight. Like hundreds of thousands of shells just going off, and they all
demoralized tactics.
It just fucked them. And then they were having to jump out of these trenches and run through machine guns and just watch thousands of their mates just getting gunned down. And the Aussies were always in the trenches cracking jokes. And these soldiers are sitting there shaking, and they're going, how the fuck are these boys sitting here joking with each other? What they don't understand is it's our way of coping. It's a coping mechanism that we have developed because we are from that prison colony culture. It's a coping mechanism that we have where you ignore the fucking great big blaring machine gun that's shooting you and your friends down, and you try and change the subject a little bit. You try and bring some fucking sunlight in so that you can feel better for a second before you've got to jump out of that godforsaken fucking hellhole and run through death itself. And it's gallows humor, and that's something that we have, and I believe that's what we're exercising with our podcasts. It's why everyone likes it when we crack jokes and shit, because everybody wants a little bit of gallows humor. Everyone wants a little bit.
I fought in your general direction. Bit of Monty Python. Man,
I love Monty Python.
Great shit.
All right, I got to leave it at that, man. Brother. All right, thanks a lot for having me. See you next time.
Man, it was great. Like, no planning, just sit down and have a yarn. Love it. We'll have to do it again sometime. And we'll definitely in the near future, ladies and gentlemen, we will have. Oh, g'day, Dean. How you going, mate? I haven't seen you in a while. We will definitely have the music that made us, and people like Dean and Richo will be certainly very appreciative of the stuff that we'll bring in. So awesome. Thanks heaps for coming on, mate. It's been fucking awesome, man.
Love your work. Thanks a lot.
Likewise. Likewise. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for joining Wayne and I for a few sips and, bit of a chin wag, bit of a yarn, and indulging in the crazy stuff that we could quite easily talk about forever. So, look, it's been awesome. We'll be doing it again very soon. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. There will be a lot of amazing, interesting things coming up in 2025. If my predictions are correct, then we're in for one hell of a year. They're going to push, but we're going to push back. And we're going to have a good laugh while we're doing it, which will fuck them up even more. So, ladies and gentlemen, one last sip to go out. I look forward to making 2025 the year we stopped 2030 agendas coming forth. See you guys next time.